Okay, just give it a second. We'll start recording. Okay, started the recording now. I'm just going to share with you my screen. So today unit, it's unit 4 of the module, and it's all about promote the emotional well-being of the child. So for us, as child carers, how we can, do you think the child emotional well-being is important or not?
Yes,
it is very important. Yes, well done. Thank you. So now, if the whole unit is all about the emotional well-being, why? Because if the child doesn't have a good development of their emotional well-being, that will affect their mental health later on when they grow up. So it is very, very important for us to manage this, to read a little bit about the theories, to understand it and follow it. Yes. So now, if you check question 1, it says explain theoretical perspective on emotional well-being. So let us start by the first theory. So the theoretical perspective, what does it mean, theoretical perspective? Can you see my screen or you can't?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, excellent. So the theoretical perspective is all about the children's emotional well-being, and it's vital. It's very important for us. Come from the relation between the child and the adult in the early life for the child. So these relations are very important. Why? Because it affects their mental well-being and mental health later on. Okay, so it doesn't affect only their life now, it affects their mental health later on in life. So there are some
in the adults, when child can be adults. Yeah,
well, yeah, when they are adults. Exactly, very good. Sorry, let me just check. I think there is someone still waiting in the lobby. Yes. Okay, so now what are the theories for the emotional well-being? So first of all is the behaviorist model of attachment. Do we know anything about the attachment? What does it mean when you say attachment?
Attachment. I think it's relationships.
Yes, exactly. It is the relationship. So there is an attachment between the baby and his mother, between the baby and his father. That's very good. So this theory, the behaviorist model of the attachment, up until there is an echo. If you can eliminate it, that would be great. Thank you so much. So up to 1950, it was thought that babies and young children would automatically be attached to those who feed them. So if a mother feeds the baby, that will create an emotional attachment, or the one who cares for them. Physical needs, if they provide the physical needs for the baby, that's another type of attachment. So they get attached to the person who feeds them, who provide physical needs for them. So this theory is all about this. Okay?
Yeah.
However, when we progress a little bit further on, there was another theory, which is Harlow's monkeys. This theory is all about the attachment again, but it says attachment is not a cupboard love. What does it mean? Harry Harlow wanted to show that the attachment is not it's not a cupboard of love. What he created 2 monkeys. He got lots of small baby monkeys to do the experiment on, and he created 2 monkeys, like an adult, big, large size of monkey. One of the man-made monkey was made of just wire mesh, and it gives to the babies lots of food. The other monkey, it was covered with toweling cloth. So this another monkey, he covered it with a cloth. And what did he notice? But the second monkey doesn't give food. So the first one was made of wire mesh, but it gives lots of food. The second monkey was covered with toweling, with a cloth, and doesn't give food. During this experiment, have noticed that the baby monkeys spend nearly all their time clinging or hanging around the close monkey, only going to the other monkey when they need food. So he saw that it's very important for the babies. Would you describe why that has happened? So the babies not only be attached to the person, well, to the monkey, the baby monkeys, they were not attached to the monkey just because he's giving them food. They were attached to someone who's soft, who's kind, who's look fluffy. So they need not only food, they need more than food. They need the physical attachment. Yes? So this is what Harlow has realized from this theory. And after that, we developed a little bit further, and we got John Bowlby theory of attachment. What does this theory says? It says it's a classic theory. It says that the attachment was provided here by the earlier model, by the earlier theory, which created in 1950. This is all built on the same theory. So for a number of years, we had been aware that there was a link between the child mental health and between the emotional development for the same child. So during the Second World War, he, along with another doctors, wrote a letter to protest against children being taken away from their parents because of the war if they were under 5 years old. Okay? Why? Because it's very important for the child to be with his parents if they are under 5 years. The emotional attachment is very important to develop their mental health for these children. So he was totally against taking the children from their parents because of the war. Until here, is it all clear about all these theories so far?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So, sorry, just let me put my charger. It looks like the color is going. Just 1 second, ladies. Okay, just okay. Sorry, ladies. I have just found out that someone, the IT technician, need this room just because we need to do some system renovation. So I'm just going to move to another room. If you just can have 5 minutes break. Well, it will take me by 2 or 3 minutes. Just I'm really sorry about that.
No,
Let
no
me
problem.
just move everything.
Okay, don't worry, teacher. Don't worry. No problem.
Oh, thank you so much. Very kind.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. I think it was Sabrina was talking before. My name is Rita. The person who's
Hi.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you said that special needs son who goes secondary school.
Oh, it wasn't me. Sorry, dear.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I think so. Another lady. She is talking about it.
Ask her if she can contact me because I want to ask her something because I have special needs son as well.
Okay. I'm Sabina. I think so. Another one is.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you. No, it's all right. It's all right. Rita, are you doing special need job? Oh, sorry, Mrs. here.
Yes, I just finished. I'm really sorry about that. Are you back?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Let me share with you. Can you see my screen again? Can you see the book?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So now let us go back and talk about John Bowlby theory of attachment. So with this theory, he went back to the theory which we just talked about earlier, which is this one. Is the behaviorist model of attachment. So he went and created his own theory built on this one. What did he discuss in his theory? That the children shouldn't be taken away from their parents during the wartime if they are under 5. Why? Because the emotional attachment is very important for the children, for their mental well-being. Yes, so according to this, he wanted, Bowlby work influenced other researchers. So he wrote a letter with lots of doctors and sent it to the government to say that they shouldn't take the children away from their parents. And he influenced lots of researchers to do more research about the same thing, about how to deal with the child emotional and attachment. So the main features for Bowlby's theory was babies need to form one strong attachment, usually to their mother, in the first years of their lives. Also, babies and young children are at risk of physical damage if they either do not form this strong attachment, or if there is a separation from their parents in the first 4 years of their life. So they will have a damage, and the babies and young children need more than just having their physical care needs met. They need love, they need attachment to thrive. Otherwise, it will affect their mental well-being. Also, according to his theory, babies and young children show separation anxiety if they are separated from their main attachment. So what is the separation anxiety? Do we know what's the separation anxiety?
Yeah.
Anxiety means worry.
Really nervous or she feel it stressful.
Yeah.
Yes.
depression, stress.
Depression,
Exactly.
Loneliness.
Absolutely. It is kind of distress for the children if they are away from their parents, if they're taken away while they are young, up to 4 or 5 years old. So this distress, they cannot be like they cannot create this attachment, which would affect their mental health. So for Bowlby and his colleagues, James, Joyce, lots of researchers, the final phase for the de-attachment, which is against the attachment, is associated with children who are not required with their reunited with their primary care. So if their children are not reunited with their parents, with their mother, with their father, they have this type of anxiety if they are not reunited within at least 6 months, 6 weeks. Yes? So what these phases for the attachment? First of all, protest. So the child, if you take the child away from his mother, what they do? First of all, protest. So the children may scream, may try to escape, they kick, they show anger. Even an animal, if you take care of a baby kitten or a baby dog, and you take him or her away from their parents, from their mothers, you will see the same thing. So first of all, it's a protest. The child will scream, will shout, will kick, will be angry, he might run away. Second phase of the attachment, of the separation, sorry, I have just Akila is joining. So second phase is the despair. What does it mean? The child behavior almost show different phase now. He has accepted this separation. They may be withdrawn, they may be quiet, sad, comfortable, sitting somewhere, not talking to you,
aggressive.
Absolutely, yes. So this is the second phase of the de-attachment. The third phase is de-attachment. How that happens, if you take away the baby from his mother, the child here may appear to be over the separation. You might think he's okay, he's fine, he's communicating well, but it's not true. He will start to different activities. So the child actually will start coping. Hello, good morning. So
Hi,
the
it's
child,
Akila. I'm with you, yeah? I'm
say
listening to
again?
you.
Yeah, Akila, thank you so much for
Thank
joining.
you so
That's
much.
really great.
Thank you, bye. Thank you, I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to tell you,
So,
I'm present. Thank you.
yes, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, so for this child, now start the third phase of that. How he coping or she coping? The child is actually start coping, trying to forget the relation he left behind, start to do different activities. But this, in the long term, it will affect his mental health.
Hi, Lena.
Hello, good morning.
Sahira.
Hello,
Good
Shahira.
morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank
Sorry for
you.
disturb. Okay.
So for the attendance sheet, as long as you join in, thank you for joining. Why? Because as soon as you join in, it's automatically will appear on my screen that you have joined, and now we can you can be added automatically to the attendance list. Okay, very good, thank you. So now let us go back to our questions. It says, explain theoretical prospects on emotional well-being. So now if I go back, So what are the theories for the theoretical perspective of emotional well-being? This is what we have just discussed. You just need to write it in your own way. So you need to talk about all these theories, explain it, what is it all about, what's the psychological perspective, how these theories developed from just in 1950, just the behaviorist model of attachment, which means that the child just should be attached to a parent and automatically this will secure his emotional well-being and his mental health in the future. And then it developed after that to Harlow's monkey's attachment theory. After that, we developed to John Bowlby theory of attachment. So all this, can you please write it? Now we explained it. If you have a question, let us repeat it. If you don't have a question, we can move on. Yeah? How many of you have a question about these theories?
Lana,
Yes?
it's just a question about cupboard love.
Yes.
Is that means that the children just follow the relationship, physical relationship, rather than other feelings? I mean,
No, for the thing is, it's mean that they need hugs, they need cuddles, they need to be be soft with them, kind to them. You just for a parent who just feed the children every day, just bring food on the table and go. Do you think that will create bonding?
Miss, is that for all children? You say?
Yeah, for all children.
Yeah, but is this like a right role? Is it children follow only person who feeds them and take care of them? I don't think that's the right thing. I'm like I'm hesitating. I don't understand this point exactly.
So you think the children will be bonding with someone doesn't have any relation to them, doesn't feed them, doesn't hug them, doesn't kiss them, doesn't talk to them?
No, I think even they don't give them food or like people don't look after children, but some people been attracted with others who like have smiley face and just I mean build a good relationship with them with the feelings, not only physical, not do you understand me? Not only not feed them or
include everything.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what Harlow's monkeys theory is all about. Like, have you seen? We said that the man-made monkey. One of them was just monkey made of wires, and the other one and give lots of food, while the other one was covered with the cloth, so they can maybe hug, they can sleep on his legs, or maybe just close to him. He's soft. They felt that he's kind, so they liked him. So they spent all the time next to the monkey covered with the cloth. They just go to the other monkey for food and come back.
So what is it, Miss? Is it Harlow's monkeys? What is this? Is it a searcher, or what is that?
So say again.
So what is it? Harlow's monkey? Is that a name?
Yes, it's a theory. So this is the theory's name. It's Harlow's monkeys. Attachment is not cupboard love. So attachment is very important. It's not connected directly just for feeding. It's connected to so many things. Like there are so many things can create the attachment rather than just the food. Like if you have at home, for example, a father and a mother, they both provided for the child, but the mother is just putting food every day to the children, and she doesn't hug and kiss and talk to them, doesn't do anything, while the father every day coming from work, cuddling, hugging, talking to them, this kind of activities. Do you think they will be more attached to their mother? I believe they would be more attached to their father. The person who provides them with love. Love is very important. Care, maybe even talking to them is important. It doesn't need to be hugging and kissing. It just
Listen to them.
make him realize that there is a bonding between you two. It's very important.
It's not only feed them or look after them, it's a communication is most important.
Absolutely, this is what he realized. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, this is what he realized in his theory. Well done. So now if we go to question, question number 2, it says explain the process of bonding. So bonding is very important. So let me go to look for 2.1. Even if you like, we can talk about the anxiety for the children. Like we said, if the children are not attached or they can't make a bond with their parents, they will have anxiety, they will have mental health problems. So all these, it affect the children well-being. So according to these theories, that if the child is not attached to his parents, could form 3 types of so this could affect the quality of the attachment. What is it? 3 types. First of all is anxious avoidance. What does it mean? Is baby largely ignore the parents if they are while he's playing, he's ignoring the parents. Yes, and a sign of distress when you see the child just playing, doesn't reply to you, doesn't look at you, is kind of distress. The baby is ignoring his parents or avoiding the parents. Why? Because the child doesn't like to be alone, so he needs the parents to participate, to play with him. So if you leave him for a while, he will be disliking this. He will be ignoring you. He will be just playing, not talking to you because you ignored him. And also there is securely attached. What does it mean? Baby plan while the parents is present, that show visible distress when the parents leave and play is reduced. So if the parents leave the baby and they don't play with him anymore, he will show visible distress. Baby is easily comforted on return of the parent. You will see him happier if they get back to him. Baby cries when he's alone because the parents are not there. So all these type of anxiety, of different kind of behaviors could happen if there is any separation between the parents and the child. Also, there is anxious residence. What does it mean? Baby is wary and explore less than other types. Like baby is very distressed when parents leave and actively resist strangers. Like if let us say you take the baby to the nursery, it's his first day, the mother always needs to be there to make him comfortable, so he start getting used to the nursery. If that doesn't happen and just the mother is very busy, gives the baby on the first day and go, that would make the baby very distressed and he will resist you as a child carer. He will not be comfortable to sit there. And then just he will be fine, wants his parents to come back, and this is another type of struggle, of anxiety, immediate struggle, which is really bad for the child. So there is a kind of bonding and the child, between the parents and the child needs always to be felt like always we provide him with love. As your colleague said, not only feeding them, we need love, we need care, we need attention to this baby to make him feel happy and comfortable. So now if we, this is all about question 1. Now if we want to answer question 2, where it says 1.2, explain the process of bonding. So let me go to check where is one is here. Explore the process of bonding. So do we know what's bonding or why it is important?
Bonding means like a connection with someone.
Relationship with the mother.
Very good. Or the father, the person who plays play major role in this child's life. Yes. So this is the bonding. So if, let us say the mother left the family, the father will be the person who the child will make a bonding with. Why? Because the father plays a major role in his or her life. So he will affect their emotional well-being to have this key person in their life. Okay, so what's the bonding? Bonding is the process in which the most parents are very like it is a very powerful, and the nature of this has designated to ensure that survive and protect the vulnerable child by his parents. So it is a process for the parents to be very important or key people in the child's life. So it is the process where the parents bonding with the child begins before the baby even born. Why? Because when the mother is pregnant, she will create this bonding. She will be noticing that the baby has moved today, the baby. So you create the bonding before the baby is born. Which is nearly from the 16th week of the pregnancy, the woman first began to feel the kick, feel the movement of the baby. At first, the movement is just little, but then it develops and become a little bit stronger. You feel it more, and then with the modern technology now, the mother can go and have a sonar and check what's the gender of the baby, where is he at the moment, how is he acting well. All these is very important now to create this bonding. However, once the baby is born, the touching, the playing is very important with the baby, because this create this kind of bonding. Yeah. And then for us, it's natural that the baby does not stop crying at the beginning. The mother will feel maybe tired because of some problem with the pregnancy, maybe hormones, but it's all part of the bonding. Yeah. So maybe if it has difficult pregnancy, it might have it might be able to bond less faster than a woman who had a natural pregnancy, a natural birth, and didn't have any complication. So it depends on how the mother felt and during the pregnancy and given the birth. But normally the bonding is very, very important. So bonding is is the cycle for the parents to respond positively to their baby and the baby needs, and even for his smile, for which words he's gonna say. All these create bonding between the mother and the child. Is this understood?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So what affect the bonding? Let us go back to the question. It says, explain the process. So as we talked about the process, how the mother feels the bonding while she's pregnant from the 16th week of the pregnancy. She can start feeling the kicks, but as a start is not strong enough, then it becomes stronger. So she has more feelings toward the baby. Also with the sonar, this is all to create the bonding. Now, what's
the bonding is related only with pregnancy, miss? So we talk only when the mom, she's pregnant, how the bonding is with the baby.
So can you repeat the question?
I said the bonding, is it related only with the pregnancy? So we need to talk only for the mom when she's pregnant, how it's.
Yeah, it starts. Okay. It starts at this stage, but then when you give a birth, obviously you will have even more reasons to create bonding with the baby, because you're going to feed him, you're going to take care of him or her. So you create
in the homework. So what we should say in bonding. So we describe a bonding, and then we talk about the mom when she's pregnant, and the bonding related. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you say after the pregnancy, giving birth, the bonding will become even stronger. Yes, it depends. So here it says factors affecting bonding. So after the pregnancy, this bonding could go stronger or could go less strong. Why? Because of many reasons. So first of all, postnatal progression. What does it mean? It says depression. Depression, sorry. What that mean? It mean if it caused by imbalance of hormone for the mother. So the mother, when gives birth, could have, or while she's pregnant, she will have lots of hormones. So imbalance of hormones could lead her to depression. Then the bonding will get affected. So if she's depressed while she's pregnant, she will be less bonding with the child, and then when she gives birth, maybe she wouldn't be taken care of same way. So that's first thing might affect the bonding. Also, a difficult birth could affect the bonding. Why? Because the mother would find it difficult to respond to the baby after he was born, especially if she had lots of pain and traumatized by the birth. Yeah, so all this could affect how the mother feels about her baby. Yes? And also, if the child is premature, why? Because when she gives the birth, they should keep him in the hospital or keep her in the hospital. So it may lead the parents not being able to touch or feel the baby, and that will not create strong bonding with a young baby. Yeah, and also there are babies who are born with additional needs, like they don't maybe they have certain disabilities, and that will maybe reduce the bonding between the parents and the baby. Why? Because the mother will be too scared to pick this baby because of his disability, or the parents might lose confidence in become more anxious about this baby, about his future, the way they think about their kid when he grow up, how he's gonna get this life. Maybe this will create some problem with the bonding. Is this understood?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the attachment. If we go to the question, we need to talk about the attachment. So what is the attachment? Sorry, there is someone joining us. So when we talk about the attachment, what does it mean?
It's interaction with the
Yes, very good. It's the parents' interaction
And other
with the
close
baby.
family members.
Very good. So there is always key family member, and this person will be providing, will be attached to this baby, will develop this attachment. Yeah. And can you talk about it a little bit more? Like, what's the reason, how we create it? Does it finish when the baby grow up with the attachment finished?
No.
No, it is usually for the long
term.
For a long time, for lifelong activity. It's not for today, tomorrow. It could carry on for longer, much longer, all his life, because it's your baby you're taking care of. And then you watch him grow up, you watch him get married, having babies, you even love his kids. So this type of attachment doesn't end when the child grow up. It is lifelong, and it is very important to the child. Such a relation with the parents and close family member is very important for the child, for his development, for his well-being, for his mental and emotional reaction later on in life. Okay, so the process of attachment, if we talk about the attachment, we need to talk about the process of attachment. So there are different stages for the attachment, from 6 weeks to 3 months. What type of attachment do we have? We have indiscriminate attachment. What does it mean? During this age, the children will begin attached to human face, to their voice, first to smile, until and this began while they are 6 months until 6 weeks until 3 months. So they attach to the mother or the father, their face, their smile, their sound. After that, there is another attachment which is between 3 months to 7 or 8 months, which is indiscriminate attachment. What does it mean? Babies are learning at this age to distinguish between faces. After three months, now they start realizing the face of the father, the mother. There are different faces. They show different behavior, different response, and when they recognize these familiar faces, they are happier, and you can see it in their action and how they behave. Also, if you leave them with one of their parents, you will find them doing lots of activities and try to talk, try to laugh, smile. Yes, so they recognize the faces at this stage. The stage after that, which is 7 to 8 months upwards, specific primary attachment. What does it mean? At around 7 or 8 months, babies begin to miss key people. So if they are going away or if they are at work, they miss them a lot. If you take your baby to the school, to the nursery, you will feel that he missed you. And that's showing signs when you see the baby crying or distressed. If the parents leave the room, he will be not happy, and he will realize that his parents are away from him. Why? Because there is strong attachment being created. Often the mother, because she is very close to the baby, giving him lots of love, attention, and care. And babies also show, if there is a stranger, they will realize it. Why? Because the faces now, they can realize faces. And they create fear, they create distress if they are with a stranger, not with their parents. So when you talk about the attachment, you talk about that, you talk about that. Also, you talk about the process of attachment. Now, develop secure relationship. So how the children can develop relationship. Here you see in the book science that children have developed a secure relationship. What are the signs? Can you think about some of them? Yeah, can you think about another sign that they develop strong relationship with their parents or with any adult?
A lot of hugs and lots of cuddles.
Absolutely.
And between the parents,
yes, very good.
even the sisters as well, and brothers, and the grandparents as well.
Share achievement or yes, yeah. Praise them, cuddle them, hugging.
Talk to them.
them.
Very good. Yes,
Yes,
excellent. So
confirm.
when you see the develop a secure relationship, you notice it if the baby start wanting to be with this adult, like whether it's a mother or father, and you kind of see lots of cuddles, lots of hugs from the baby.
Talking and playing with the kids.
Play with them.
Good. Want them to share them with their playing.
Yeah.
Also, you can see them share them with their activities. They tell you lots of news about what they achieved on that day, what they did, and how they spent their day. This is all sign of attachment. Very good. Of developing a secure relationship with the mother or the father. In addition, the babies and toddlers also want to keep their adult within their close to them. So always you see them close to you. As your colleague said, they will make eye contact with you. They will they will give you lots of cuddles, lots of hugs. They will talk to you. They will come and ask you to play with them. They will share you what they did in their day and how they spent their day and what they achieved that day in the nursery or at home. So it is very important. And now if we go back to the question, it says, evaluate the impact of secure relationships on a child's emotional well-being. So you need to do evaluation on the impact of secure relationship on the child's emotional well-being. So how you think secure relationship would help the child's well-being?
I think the listening. If we are listening what the kids want, or the kids can tell us what he needs or what she needs.
Okay, let us start like part of the question when it says key person. So who is the key person in the child's life, and who are they? Why we call them key person?
Parent.
Parent or someone related after them.
Very good. Is the key person is someone who the child can build a significant or a very strong or special relationship with them, and this relationship is the close one. Enable the child to cope with their emotionals, with their feeling, give them some security if the parents are away from the child. Okay, so every nursery would have a key person, like it is by law to have key person in the nursery. So for example, you care for 5 children over there, so you are the key person. You contact the family if the child needs something, or you are the person who builds a strong or bonding relationship with the child, so the child will trust you and would like to be in that nursery. So the role of the key person is so important, so that so who said something? Could you please repeat it?
اونلاين بس تشوف ما كاش بعدين تكون سكات في الدار كاين
يقعد انا ندير في بيتي
من ساعة ونص تبيونيش شو هكاس ولا اسم.
So the role of the key person is so important that
ولا كاين اسم ما عرفتش مسكونة جديدة.
Could you please mute yourself because you're affecting the class, if you don't mind? Okay, thank you very much. So the role of the key person is so important that it is something that the inspector check when they visit early years setting. In England, as we said before, it is a legal requirement in theory that each nursery would have a key person system in place. So what does it mean? It means, let us say each one of you have quite a few kids to take care of, so you are the key person for them, yeah? So it is very, very important. So now we need to know what's the importance. To follow the question, it says evaluate the impact. So we need to know what's the significance, why it is important to have a key person for the emotional support. So first of all, it is for emotional support. This is the main role of the key person. They must develop a close relationship with the child, which from the child perspective would feel as if they are his favorite relative. So the child will be happy in the nursery. It is usually that the key person is to agree that the child warmly treatment. So they will include some hugs, they spend time with them, they talk to the children or to the babies, give them additional reassurance. So it is very important for the emotional support. So first of all, it is for emotional support. Second thing is can you try to think about another importance for the key person?
Language partner.
Okay, what does mean language partner? Do you think the child would need help in their communication? Yes, it is very important.
If you have a key person he can talk to, he can relate it, he feel free to talk to someone. In case of, instead of the child getting depressed, he can talk to someone is very comfortable with.
Excellent. This is like full answer to the question. So language partner, we know that the babies are developing, so they need someone to interact with, to make communication with, to develop their language skills. That's why the key person is really important. So if the child, or the children have a strong relationship with their key person, they are more likely this to impact on their language or on their language development, so they can speak better. Why? Because this person is always communicating, always talking to them. Any other things you think the key person is very important to the child?
The child, he may self-isolate or feel lonely if he don't have someone, a key person he can relate and talk to. And then later, when they grow up, it will affect them.
Yes, very good. And also for personal care and hygiene routine. So for you as a child carer, you will have, let us say, 4 or 5 children to take care of. It depends on the nursery, how many kids they have. And for you as a child carer, key person there, what's your responsibility? One of your responsibilities is personal care and hygiene routine. So you take care of the baby's nappies, you change it to them, you are their key person. And also in case of the babies, let us say that you feed them, if they need someone to wash their faces or their hands, you do it for them. Make sure they're always clean, tidy, and so this is all part of your work as a key person in the nursery. You sit with them, you do snacking, you do all the daily activities with them. So you care for them and you provide hygiene routines. Also working with the parents. So it is very important to have the key person. Why? Because he's close to the children, to the babies. Let us say you as a key person, you will have 5 kids to take care of. So you know a lot about each one of these children. So when the parents come in, you can talk to them, you can give them lots of information because you're working closely with these babies or with these kids. So you can create good relationship with the parents. Also observation and assessment. So the key person normally is the person who considers children's development and uses this information to feed back his parents. He will, like she normally, they are like all the ladies who work in child care. As a key person, the other importance for their role is observation and assessment. So as a key person, normally you monitor the child development and use this information to feed his parents, to tell them about how he's developing or she's developing and what he or she good at, what they are not good at. You do lots of assessment, observation, and feed these information to his parents. Also, the last importance for the key person, which is planning play and activities. So for you as a child carer or key person in the nursery, it is likely to involve in planning play activities, make sure the children are enjoying these activities, you spend time with them, playing and creating good relation with them. So do we understand how to answer this question. It
Yes,
says evaluate the impact of secure relationship. Yeah.
Yes, miss.
So for you to, okay, so what's the impact of secure relationship? If we go back to the secure relationship, what's the impact on the child? The child. Are we done this question? For the analyze the role of the key person in promoting emotional well-being. We just spoken about what's the role activities for the key person, which are, where is it? Question number 2.1. So what's the importance of having a key person? The key person is a person who's very close to the child, is someone who's building up a significant or very special relationship with the child in his parents' absence. And it is by law required in England to have key people in the nursery to take care of the children, to create a strong bond and relationship with them. The importance of having them: first of all, emotional support, language partner, personal care and hygiene routine, and also working with parents. And the last importance, which is observation and assessment, and planning, play, and activities. And you need to talk about them as well. You don't just put bullet points. I would answer the question fully and put all the importance of the key person. Talk about it. Is this understood so far, or do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, it's understandable.
fine.
It's very clear.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Now identify transition, and let me just enlarge it so you can see it. Identify transition and significant event that a child may experience. Can you think about transition or very important event in the child's life? So let us go here. So there are so many transitions could happen to any child. First of all, moving between setting and carers. So the child, many children are cared for in more than one early years during the week, or even during the day. For example, one may go to a nursery in the morning and to the childminder in the afternoon. Why? Because the parents are having to work between 9 to 5, and the nursery finish very quickly. Then the childminder will come and collect these babies and take care of them in her house. So this is type of transition. Many children maybe need more than one care setting during the week or even during the day. Also, starting and moving through daycare. What does this mean? If the child just started any daycare, they may experience transition as they move from one section to another. Like, for example, of this, a toddler room, there is a preschool room, there is baby's room. So there is a transition in the same care setting. So not only between different care style or care settings, they could experience the transition within the same care setting. They move from one stage to another stage. Also moving to school. So when they finish the nursery, they move to school, and it's significant change for the child's life. At school, there are more children and adults, and it is usually a much larger space. So the child maybe gets scared, maybe stressed, or they have lots of emotional development to take care of. Also, birth of sibling is a transition for the baby or the child. Like he's by himself or herself for a while. Everyone's taking care of him, everyone cuddling him, and suddenly there is another baby, and he feels intimidated because he might take his spot there. So when a new sibling arrives, children have to adapt to the change in the family. It's a huge transition for the baby or for the child. Also, living outside the family home, moving home. So moving home, some children will move home during their early years. He got used to the nursery, get used to everything, his home, his room, and then suddenly they move home to another home and everything changes. The nursery, the friends, everything. So that's a big transition for the child. Also, living outside the family. Some children may not be always living with their parents. They may live with extended family, like grandfather or grandmother, or in fostering family. It might change. This might occur for a variety of reasons. If the family break down, they might give him into care. So all these are huge transition for any child's life. Also, another type of transition, family breakdown. What does it mean? That the parents could separate or get divorced. Some children may have to cope with their family structure being changed, and the separation of their family. There will be breakdown in the relationship. So that will create a new transition to the baby, because each one of the parents will live in a separate house. Then he will have to maybe be in the weekend with his father, maybe the rest of the week with his mother, or other way around. So that's a huge transition for the child's life. Also, loss of significant people. Sadly, some children may experience loss of their family member, like let us say the father or the mother or their grandparents. And this is a huge transition for the lives of these children. Is it understood so far or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So this is identify the transition and significant event in the child may experience. So this is the transition that the child may experience. And we can even talk about how this affects the children. So if there is a huge transition in the child's life, it will affect some of them might affect the short term, or maybe some of them, like losing the parents, could affect their full life. So their immune system may not be as effective if it is just for short term. Even might not be getting depressed, but if it is for a long time, it will affect their health, their mental well-being, and you can notice it on the child behavior. Also, that will affect their emotional development. The transition also affect the child feelings. They become more upset, more angry, aggressive. All this could affect the children. So this is for the short term, because in the short term, let us say one of these development, because the child like get used to it. So short term would be maybe moving home. So he will start building new friends. He will so it's fine. He can cope with, but or maybe if it could affect him in the long term. Why? Because he start not coping with that and not being happy with the new friends, not liking the new. So this affect him on the long run. Also, losing one of the parents would affect him on the long term. So for the long term, what affect the child? Some transition is significant event and can affect the child long term. Usually happen if the child haven't been supported before or during this transition. Like suddenly he lost his parent or parents. That's a huge and significant event, and it happened sudden, so it would affect his emotional well-being. Up to here, are we clear, or do you want me to repeat anything?
Yes, miss. Okay.
Excellent. So now describe the potential effect of transition and significant event on the child's life. So how this, whether it's short-term transition or long-term, how this affect the child life?
Maybe not understanding why it happened or why he.
Yeah, so if we go back to here, so what's the potential effect of the transition and significant event on the child's life? We just described it. There are short-term effects and there are long-term effects. So the short-term effects, many adults believe that the children can be adapt slowly to this event, and then the new situation maybe it's not as serious as the child thinks. So if they got the support while the transition, then it will be just short-term effect. For example, getting a new sibling. And the child maybe as a start he will be withdrawn, maybe will be jealous in a short term, but then when he or she start playing with the baby, liking them more, then that will make them happy, and he will be or she will be able to cope. There are like the effect will more likely to be just short term. However, if the and as we said, could be just physical well-being or could be the emotional well-being in the short term. So on the short term, the child's health may be affected. He may become ill, or because his immune system might get affected by the effect of the transition on him, and their immune system may not be affected or could be affected. So this because of the stress that the immune system would be affected, and it's very common for the children to be disturbed. Their sleep will get disturbed, their sleeping pattern. They maybe refuse to go to bed. They become
short time, miss.
Yeah, this is all short term.
Okay.
And also for their emotional effect, as we said, the baby maybe become angry. Why? Because he just got a new sister or new brother, and he feels like he's not the king of the family anymore. So make him angry, make him aggressive. His health may be get affected. This is all on the short term. How about the long term effect? Let us say the child has lost one of his parents. That's a significant event on the child. Usually happened if the child is not being supported during the transition or before the transition, that will affect him long term. Even the small transition, like let us say the baby who just got another brother or another sister. Yeah, it might be very small event, very small transition. If you give cuddles and love to this baby and inform them that they will have their spot in the family and this is just a new baby and he has to take care of him or her because he's the older sibling, and if you make him feel comfortable with this transition before and after it happened, then the effect will be very short term effect. However, if you don't support the child before and during the transition, that will give him long-term effect. He might become very jealous of this baby, and then
So
he might be
to avoid the short term. Yeah.
Yeah. So to avoid that the child having a long-term effect because of the transition, what would you do? What would you do?
Give them more
You
love.
need, you need to support the baby before and during the transition. So we just said about the child who just got another sister or another brother. So for this child, he just lost his place in the family. He thinks like no one will care for him. So this is a huge transition for this kid. So how you make it short term? If you before you give birth and during and after giving birth, while you take the baby to the new baby to the house, you tell your child that it's fine. This new baby, he will be a brother or a sister to you. You need to take care of them. You're the older one. We love you. We care for you, and you show them love. You show him more care, more attention, because you take a lot of care and attention for the new baby. Your older one will think will be getting jealous, of course. So if he get as much love, attention and care as much as you give to the new one, then this will be short time effect. And if you talk to him about the transition and support him, that will be short time effect. If you don't, the same very small event, which is just getting a brother or sister, it might be long term effect on this child if you just ignore him and don't care for him because you have a new one, you're too busy, you just ignore your current one. He will be very jealous. He might be start developing hate feeling towards his brother or his sister, and this will carry on for a long time. So to avoid long-term transition, first thing you do is support before and during the transition. Support your kid. Okay. So we have
some new situation for children will affect positively, because maybe when we move to the bigger house, that will help children to be happier than before, as well as for example, when a child feeling lonely when he's one child, but when he get brother or sister, will feel accompanied, like
yes, but this is absolutely, but this happens why? Because you're supporting the child. You've been talking to them, you've been giving them lots of care and attention, and say you're still my favorite baby, and I love you so much. If you don't give them that and you keep taking care of the young one and ignore the current kid, he will be jealous. Yes. So that's why you need to support the child during and before the transition. It's very important. So if you keep telling the kid, oh, you will have a new baby, a new sister or new brother very soon, they will love you, they will care for you, they will be hugging you, all this in his mind, he's just drawing a very beautiful picture about the new baby. He wouldn't get jealous when you get the new baby. It's good to create kind of support to his transition. How about the effect for the long-term effect? Because to describe the potential effects, so first of all, we talked about the short-term effect, which is physical well-being and emotional well-being. Now for the long-term effect, so what is the long-term effect of the transition? First of all, self-confidence. So some children, self-confidence can be affected. Sorry, just one second. So in the long term, the child's self-confidence can be affected because of the transition, because of the event happening in their life. So this affects their ability to make friends, to be happy, to be comfortable, ability to cope with the new changes. So first effect for the long-term transition is self-confidence. Second thing is depression. If untreated, the depression can become long-term problem for the baby. It might affect their mental health later on. So for the child, we need to take care of them. If they have depression, we need to treat it. Make sure we take them, get medical support. Otherwise, they wouldn't enjoy their life. They would have mental problem later on. So second effect is depression. Third effect is anger. Anger, some children, they may become very angry as a result of the event, of the transition. If anger is not treated, they will not learn how to manage it. Like for the child, if we don't treat his anger, if we don't support him to work on his anger, he will become very aggressive adult when they grow up. So it's very important to take care of the anger of the children and try to work with it, work on it. Another effect of the long-term transition, or effect of the transition, is the relationship. What does it mean by what do we mean by relationship? Sub-transition or event cause the children to lose the trust in adult, to lose trust in or other kids or children, and this may cause to find it hard to make meaningful relationships in life. So some transition, if we don't take care of the child while they have it, this may cause the children to lose trust in the adult or in the children, and may not be able to form a good relationship in the future. Also, self-harming. So we see some of the and abusive behavior. Some of the adults, you see, they cut their hands more often. Why? Because they had some kind of a transition and their parents or their carers didn't take care of that transition, maybe. Or it could be because of abuse. So it could be because of many reasons, but one of the reasons for the long-term effect of the transition, one of the events could happen, which is self-harming and abusive behavior. So some of the children will, if they are not able to express their pain, and the adult will not notice that this will lead to self-harming or abusive behavior in the future. And that is a very, very dangerous for themselves, and also they become very dangerous for the society, could be very dangerous for the society. And also antisocial behavior. So some children, when they have the transition, if we don't dealt with it, if we didn't give the child support before and while the transition, so some children who haven't been able to express their frustration or pain, that they've been let down by adults, may go to show antisocial behavior, which is very dangerous. And also another sign, which is underachievement. So consequence of significant transition and events on the child could affect their achievements in life, in schools, and maybe they don't pass in their schools, maybe they don't go to universities. All this because we didn't deal accurately before and after the transition. This will affect on the children's ability in the school, children's ability, make it very difficult for them to pass schools, universities, and so on. So now, are we clear about the potential effect of transition and significant event on child's life? Are we clear about it? Okay, very good. Very good. Now, if we go to just okay, 3.3. 3.3, explain the role of early years practitioner in preparing child for a planned transition. So what's your role as a practitioner, as a child carer, if there is any massive transition for the children's in the children's life? So what's your transition, what's your role to support the child in his transition or her transition? So there are so many ways, because for you, you are a key person for this child. He's very close, or she's very close to you. You are very important in their life as well. So what would you do? First of all, you can work closely with the family. So if there is any child's transition, you would know. So work closely with the family. It is important to work closely with the family, so all the information could be shared. So you can give them information, you can get lots of information of them. And also with the information provided, you would avoid misunderstanding between you two, and you would agree on strategies to follow to take care properly, to prepare this child for this kind of transition. Also, work closely with other setting. We said that some of, like, you work as a child carer in a nursery, but the child is not there all the time. Why? Because the nurseries are very expensive. So some of the, you know better than me, because you have children, that some of the nursery, some of the parents might have some vouchers or something, so they put their children in the nursery for maybe half a day and the rest with the childminder because they can't afford the nursery is too expensive or something like this. So what would you do if the child has a transition? You work closely with other settings, such as the childminder. Yeah, by doing this, you provide accurate information to this person, and also you get good information from this care setting as well. Yeah. Also, what your role will be, work closely with other professionals. So it's very important to work closely with other professionals if the child has got a transition. Some children will also gain support from other professionals, such as maybe if the child can't speak very well, there is a speech therapist can help, or language center can help the child. So you work closely with them, you gain information, you know how to treat the child, how to talk to them, how to develop them. And if the child is in foster care or will be moving to home care again or home again, all this. So you work closely with any professional who has got significant importance in the child's life. Also, you plan activities as a childminder or earlier as a practitioner. You help the children prepare for their transition by planning activities that will help them to understand their situation, to understand the transition, why they've been put in this situation. So maybe you pick a book or a story about a child who's been moved home, or about the arrival of a new baby. You just need something to give them information, indirect information about their situation. This also kind of planning activities. Also, you can plan much more activities. Maybe you talk to the child, ask them a question about how they feel, and reassure them that it's okay if you have, let us say, a child who just got a baby sister or baby brother. You just talk to them about their situation and how it is important to have another kid in the family, and when she grow up, she will play with him, and how she will become a very nice sister, something like this. So you can talk to them, encourage them, or you can plan activities, maybe do stories, or maybe read books for them, or maybe any game can prepare them to their transition. Also, as a child carer, you can visit a new setting or carers. What does it mean in cases where children are moving to setting or carers? The role of early years practitioner is to introduce the child to the new setting or to the new carer by being with the child. So as we talked before, normally the mother would be coming with the child on the first day to introduce the child to the nursery, also sit with him for a while just to get him used to it. Also for you as a child carer, if the child moved to another nursery, maybe you can sit with the child or with the carer to talk to them, to introduce the child for the new setting or for the new carer, and stay with the child until he or she very comfortable with the situation. So you as a practitioner, you need to act as a safe base for the child, because this child trusts you a lot, and then so the child will explore the new setting, or he will explore talking to the new carers. Why? Because he finds you there as support for him. So it's very, very important for their transition. Is it understood so far?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now, it says explain the role of early years practitioner in supporting the needs of the child during the transition and significant life event. So here is your for 3.3. You see the difference is not big, but 3.3 is explain your role to prepare the child or plan the transition. Here, explore your role in supporting them. This is during the transition, support the child needs during the transition. So this is before the transition and this is during the transition. So 3.4, what's your role to support the child during the transition? So during the transition, the child should be prepared for this transition, for the life event. It is, however, unfortunately, it's not the case. Why? Because some of the children, their parents, their nursery do not prepare them for that transition, and that will mean it will have long-term effect on the child's life. So a child's parents may be involved in an accident. Maybe they need to be hospitalized, or the child may be suddenly removed from their parents by the social services. Why? Because their parents fighting a lot, or they are beating him for abuse or for any other cases. So whatever circumstances could happen suddenly, and that will affect the child. So during these circumstances, the child will need to be supported during the transition. It's because this has got significant effect on their life. So for you as a practitioner, you will have major role in the child's life.
Yeah.
So what would you be doing? First, working closely with others, including their families. So as you preparing the child, or as you helping the child during his transition, it is very important role for you that you need to work closely with his parents, with his family. This may mean talking to also to a social worker if there is a social worker for this child, previous carer, a family member. So for you to plan the transition or to support the child during the transition, you need lots of information. So you get the information by you working closely to the child's family, or maybe to his carers, and this has got a huge importance in the child's life. Why? Because you share information when you work closely with the parents. Also, spending time with the child. So not only you work closely with his parents, you also spend time with the child himself or herself. Why? Many children who are going through transition or significant life event need to spend more time with their key person. So for you, as we said, in the nursery, you would be a key person. You have maybe 5 or maybe more, maybe less, depends on how big the nursery is, children to take care of. So for every child, need to spend more time with the key person. So the key person, if you're a key person, you wouldn't be just giving the children toys and go to maybe have a smoke outside, or just to chat with another carer. Or no, you need to spend time with them. It's very important, especially children who has got a significant life event. So the role of you as a practitioner in such cases is to be for the child and sensitively
more help than other children.
Sorry, I say again?
It's like they need more care.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very good. So they need extra care.
Extra,
so
yeah.
how you provide extra care? You become very close to them. You spend more time with them. You become very sensitive when you respond to their questions. And you talk to them. Children may not want to talk to an adult at all times, telling their feelings. However, it is very important to try to encourage them to talk by being very close to them. Also, allow the children to express their emotions. How would you do that?
Listen to them carefully and.
So the children normally they show different type of emotions during the transition. So it is very if this transition has got significant like if it is a significant life event in the child's life, so it has got like huge importance. So how they express their emotions, how would you allow them to express it?
Give them question.
Yes, talk to them. Acknowledge their anger. If you see them angry, maybe acknowledge their anger. For young children, also maybe mean looking for safe materials and activities to allow them to do, and include them in the give them different materials, maybe paint, maybe water. Just give them new type of activities to express themselves, because if they start painting with the or drawing with the paint, they will be more able to express themselves, to show you their feelings, how they feel, because they draw it. So it is very important. So for you as a practitioner, you help the children by allowing them to express their emotions. So you have a major role as a key person for you to help the child to express their emotion. And some of these children may not like to talk. So what do? You might give them paint to express their feelings, water to play with it, any other safe materials to show you their feelings. Depends on the kind of activities. You just need to take this anger away. So you either talk to them, give them activities. Also, as a practitioner, you can seek further support. You see the child, you cannot really help him. He doesn't want to talk. You give them activities, doesn't want to do anything. So what do? You get more support. Or even if the life events is so significant that is affecting the child so much. So in this event, then you need additional support. A child who's been seen a parent murdered, for example, that's a major thing for any child. He would need a psychiatric support rather than just a child carer. For you, then you need to ask or seek another further support. Therefore, like, it is important role for you to find out, get more information about the child so you can help them properly. Obviously, you need to get permission from their carers, from their parents, and maybe ask for more specialist service. So this is your role during the transition. Is this understood so far, or do you want me to repeat it?
It's clear. Yeah.
Yes, clear. Very good. Thank you. So if you see here, question 3.3 is explain the role, your role preparing the child for transition. So before the transition, what you need to do, you need, where is it? 3.3. which is work closely with the family, closely with other setting. Also, you need to work closely with other professionals, plan activities, and visiting new settings. That's before the transition. However, during the transition has happened. What you need to do is working closely again with the family or with the others, spending more time with the child, allow the child to express their emotions so they don't keep their fears or anger or sadness. They share it with you, and also seek further support if you need it.
Miss, what about the working with other settings?
Yes. What about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, working with the other settings. We said you maybe for you, but if you if the child is moving from put the parents. So say again.
Contact the other setting and share the information about the child.
Yeah, absolutely. So other settings would be, sorry, I just need, one of your colleagues has just joined in, Akila. Okay, so other settings could be another nursery or could be a childminder. So how you work with another setting? So if the child, if the parents cannot afford putting the child full-time in the nursery, they can't afford it because they have some vouchers, so they put in maybe 2 hours a day. The rest of the day, there must be someone to take care of him, which is, let us say, the childminder. She come and collect them and go. So this is 2 settings. So you work closely with the childminder, you pass information to her, and she can give you information. And that's very helpful for the child. This is before the transition. During the transition, if the child have moved to another setting, then let us say the child parents are no longer able to put him in a nursery, then what would you do? You can either talk to his child, they just have a childminder, or they moved him to another care setting. Then you speak to the care setting, have the child with you. When when there is a new carer for the child, she will come and or he will come and talk to you. Then you stay with the child, make sure you introduce the child, make him comfortable, make him happy, until he make this bonding with the carer. You don't leave the child by himself or herself. Because why? Because this is kid. Because you are a key person in the child's life and you are very trusted for the child. Is this understood?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Perfect, thank you. So now if we do the other, this is the last question from this sheet, which is identify the need of the children in all setting in relation to emotional well-being. So what are the needs of the children in all setting in relation to emotional well-being?
Their safety, they won't harm themselves. Confidence.
Shall I say again?
Child confidence.
Yes, sorry, let us stop here. So what's the emotional well-being for the child in a, let us go back to the question. It says identify the needs. So what's the needs for the children in the nursery in relation to the emotional well-being? That's obvious. As a key person, you need to be very close to the child. You need to work with them. You need to make them feel comfortable. They need to trust you. You need to build a good relation with the child. also with their parents. It's very important to build a good relation with their parents. And there are many ways to do that. Good relationship with their parents are very important. Why? Because they pass all the information to you. Information are important to be shared. You give them information, you take information. This may include the parents telling the practitioner about how the child responded at home, how he acted or she acted, if there is any changing or any circumstances, any significant event has happened in their life, they would tell you. So it's very important to work closely with the parents. Why? Because you are the key person. You are the person who provide extra support to the children and build good relationship with them. So, and then also observation of the children. So early as practitioner is able to identify the need of the child by carefully watching them. So for me, if I was working as a child minder or child practitioner, I can watch the child. I can understand their feeling, how they act. At the end of the session, I would notice if the child is unhappy, if he's miserable, if he's stressed. That you can see their faces, like you notice all these changes by the child respond to you, the way they talk, the way their tone of voice, if the child used to enjoy playing with other children, but now he preferred to play alone. That means there is something happened in his life. Yeah, so for you, you need to observe the child and can think about the best response to their needs. Is this understood?
Yes.
So if you were to answer this question where it says, identify the needs of the children in own setting in relation to emotional well-being, I will be saying that as a child carer, for me, I work closely with the children. I need to make them settled quickly. I need to make them feel relaxed, happy in the session. I always talk to them because I'm the key person to these children. I identify their needs, what's their emotional well-being, and act on it. So the emotional well-being. So for me, I work closer to the parents to get lots of information about the child in relation to his activities and how he's responding at home. They tell me lots of information about the changes and circumstances in the child's life. So I act on it, and also by observing the child, I can help them. So I can watch them, watch their faces and how they react to certain situations. And for example, as soon as they first enter the session, the first hour, I can monitor if they are aggressive, if they are happy, if they are not happy, the way they talk to other children. And if they are facing any challenge, I might notice it as well. And for you notice these changes on the children response to others, how they act with other children. They maybe, as a start, they used to love playing with their colleagues, with other children. I mean, and then suddenly they become very withdrawn. That means there is a significant event might be happening in their life. So all these changes, I notice it and do my best to get more information and try to work on it with the parents.
It's like a reflective. Yes, we're talking, not in general.
Is this clear?
Pardon?
Yes, it's like reflective, but you talk about it because this what you want to talk about it as a reflective, just talk about it normal. But for me, I like the questions, you answer them as if they are reflective at all time. Why? Because it shows that word and body that you are really living these situations. You have a real experience. You're not just answering the questions. You're answering the questions, but from experience side of, which is really good. I mean, now if we go back to the reflective account, can I just say, please, can you put your name? Because both sheets on the top, if you go to this sheet as well, on the top I put a student name. I would love if everyone put her name, please, because it's very important. I got lots and lots of files every day. So I try to work with them as soon as I receive them. However, if the system down, something happens to your file, at least when we retrieve it from the system, thank God nothing happened to the system so far. But if it is down and we can't find the files, if we want to retrieve it back, how we would know? There are so many files and each file doesn't have name. So please, please, please start putting your name. For me, I started doing it for you before I attach it, which is very important, but I'd like you to do it yourself. So now let us go back to the reflective. So 4.2, work with children in a way that support independence. So 4.2, let me go back to 4.2 to talk about supporting independence and how can you do that. What is it? 4.2, support independence, build resilience, and build confidence, support self-reliance. So let us see, because here 4.2 it does not have, it says go back to the table in 146. So let us go back to the table. Four, 145, 146. Okay. Okay, so this is where question in the reflective account. The first question in the reflective account, work with the children in a way that support independence. So for you to support their independence, what would you do? Here it
For
says,
example,
and you see, it's all same thing. So the role of the adults for all of these aspects is acknowledging the child attempt at being independent. For example, a baby trying to feed themselves. So acknowledge that. And also provide materials and resources that allow the children to access them and tidy them away easily. So for you to support child independence, this is all about your experience. So how you would say, what would you do to support the child independence? Do we know what's the child independence?
Yeah. So for example, encourage them to help me preparing snack tables and serve for themselves. Tidy up as well. Let them tidy up the end of the day when they finish playing.
So Yeah, so for you as a childminder, if you want to support them in their independence, it means you allow them to feel that they are grown up rather than just children. Allow them to feed themselves. You don't start feeding them. If they are old enough, if they are babies, yes, you feed them. But if they are old enough, then you encourage them to feed themselves. And also you acknowledge their attempts. So if they start feeding themselves by themselves, the child feels thirsty, goes and grabs some water and drink, or a cookie and eat, or some fruit and eat. You acknowledge it. You praise the child for doing this and say, well done, that's really good. Encourage them to do it so they do it more often. Yeah, so because it's reflective account, how we answer this question, I'm talking about myself. So I say, as a childminder, a child carer, or child practitioner, I support the child independence so much. So if a child would like to feed themselves, I would acknowledge that at all times, and I will praise them for that, because it's good to see the child progress and child start being able to support themselves. So I praise them for that, to encourage them to do it more. Yes? And also I provide them with any materials, maybe read stories for them. So I encourage them to be independent, give them stories to read it by themselves, encourage them to do that also. And if they do it, I encourage or recognize their achievement and praise them for that, even if it is a small thing. I make other children watch and listen and say to this child, well done, you've done a very good job. Also, if there is any good stories about the same situation, I always try to read it for them. So I encourage them to be independent and give them, for example, ask them to pick which type of toys or which type of stories they would want to have on that day. So I encourage their independency. Okay.
Okay.
How about building resilience or preservance? How would you do that? So for me, because it's a reflective account, I need to talk about myself again in my nursery, what we do, what I do, of course. So just to show that working body that you know how to do these things. So for me to teach the child to build their resilience, I always provide lots of materials for the children to access, lots of stories about for them how to be independent, how to create kind of a routine to encourage them to be independent. And I also I also ask them to collect their own plates, maybe take it to the table, not leave the toys after them. They need to tidy it themselves. Give them the tissue so they can wipe off their faces. I don't do it for them. Also, I'm always positive with the child, try to give them lots of self-esteem, always praise them for their achievement. If they have lots of toys on the floor, I wouldn't be telling them off. I would ask them to take care of it themselves, so they start tidying the room. Not put it in the wrong place, put it in the right place, and make sure. So all this, actually, all this is all about the first one, which is the support independence. So as you can see, all these first points is all about the independence. So you can just talk about one by one and just describe the situation about you, yourself. So first of all, how to do with support child independence. Just say, as a child practitioner, I deal with 5 children in my nursery. I'm the key person there. I acknowledge the children's attempts are being independent. So if they like to feed themselves, I would be happily praising them for that. I provide materials for them so they can, for example, tidy the area after they play in. I recognize their achievement. I praise them. I also provide any resources for them. For example, if there is a Lego or jigsaw, what I do, I just provide it for them so they start building themselves. I don't interfere. I create always a routine to encourage their independency. So they always have to collect their plates, they wipe their faces, serving their food. Also, I'm always positive with them to encourage them to have good self-esteem. Okay, how about build resilience and perseverance? So when there's a toileting and a nappy changing, what I do, I treat the children with dignity. I encourage them to do some of the work independently. And if there are older children, I give them the opportunity to have their own privacy, and also assure the children that I respect them at all time. I respect their opinion. I respect their right over their bodies. For example, if the child insists to do something, I would allow them to do. And that's for building resilience and perseverance. And then what about building confidence? Building confidence, you can talk about same thing about toileting and how you can because there are so many points. You see here? All these points are about, so when you support independency, building resilience, building confidence, support self-resilience, they all same point. It's all about acknowledging the child attempt. It's all about recognizing their achievement. It's about, so you just talk about it one by one, just talk about it, about yourself. So for me, I acknowledge their needs, I encourage them, I praise them. This will give them, this will build their confidence. So when it comes to build their confidence, this will build their confidence because I always praise them. I always encourage them. I always support them. And how you support their resilience, I always encourage them to do things independently. Cool. They all same thing. They're all about independence. Yeah. So now if you answer all these, now when you go to equip children to protect themselves, let us go and see, sorry, not this one, the reflective account. Yes, equip the children to protect themselves. So here where we come and talk about the toileting. For the toilet, or if you change the nappies for the child, so if I change the nappies for the children, I always respect the child's dignity and respect their independency. So if the child always give him or her the opportunity and show them respect, so that if they insist to do different pattern from what I used to, is fine, is their bodies and they can take care of themselves. Build relationship between the children. So now this one, build relationship between children. What would you do to build the relationship between children? Provide materials that allow the toddlers to read or play with, like so they can play alongside with others. Provide activities where children can play together, like do it together with adults, like cooking, games. Play simple games that the children from 3 years can take turn into, like picture, tattoo. Also praise and encourage the children when they are playing and cooperating. Encourage all the children to resolve their own problems or anything hard for them. Encourage them to resolve it by themselves. So when it comes to build a relationship with the children, just say, for me as a child practitioner, I always provide material for the toddlers and for the children to play with, such as water or Lego. Also, I provide activities for the children to play together with the adults, like cooking, games, and also play simple games with other children, like picture tattoos. I help them and praise them a lot when they do certain activities, and also encourage the older children to be more independent. So now, where it says 4.3, plan and activities to promote emotional well-being in all settings. So how would you plan an activity? So let us go to 4.3. Planning an activity. So where is planning an activity? So there are so many activities, as we see here, that promote the children well-being, such as books and stories. Reading books can help the child to talk about their feelings, about the support they use to get it. Also, stories, painting, drawing, puppets. There are so many activities you can do with the children to support them to talk about their feelings, like role playing, making music. So what do you do here? You just take one of the activities and talk about it, about yourself, plan this activity, and how did you do it? What did you end up with? Did the children were happy with it? So for me, let me answer this question. So I created, as a child practitioner, I always try to plan activities to support children's well-being. So one day I planned an activity for us to read different stories. So I got all the stories which is we have in the cupboard, gave the children these stories, and each one of the children will, I encourage them to have a look at the pictures and try to read the story to the rest of us, or to create his or her own story, and thus encourage them to talk about their feelings, because I started to ask each child the questions about their stories and why they felt that this person in the story should have done that, and was that correct or wrong. And I kept asking them questions to find out their feeling about every single situation. And that helps, especially one of the children who had a transition in his life, because his mother gave birth to another child, a baby sister, and that had a significant effect on his life, because he felt that his parents are not taking care of him. So what I did was I encouraged him. I gave him a story similar to his situation, and I encouraged this child to talk about his situation thoroughly, and about this inside the story, like, and why the child in the story wasn't happy, and was he happy, and why. And then I got lots of information, so I passed it to his parents as well, because while he was talking, he didn't realize that he was talking as if he's talking about himself, about his situation. So I got lots of information that his parents need more support, more to be more closer to this baby, to this child. And after I passed the information, the child became happier because his parents started to take extra care of him. And this is how I helped him in his transition. Okay, so this is one of the activities you can help the child with. You can even think about other activities to help the child with their transition. Like certain, like painting, for example. You are taking care of 5 children, and one of the children had a significant major changes in his life, because he just moved home and he changed his nursery, so he wasn't happy. He was very angry. You get all the children you're taking care of paint and drawing, and then when I done that, so I gave all the children paper, lots of paints. They started to express themselves, and the child, MA or NA, any, because you can't put real name to the children, you can put just the initials. You say the child, MA, was drawing really dark, putting really dark colors, was very unhappy, and show that in the picture, in the painting, that his mother was shouting at him, and he has no friends. So what you did is encouraging the child, in his transition, that you spoken to his parents about his feeling, because you put it on drawing, and you start asking him the questions to the child MA until so he can give you more information about his situation and how he feels. And so he thinks like his mother will stopped loving him when he moved to a new house, and also his friends, he left all his friends behind. So you told all this information to his parents, and since then his mother become nicer to him. And in the nursery, you start helping him to make more friends. You start trying to build a relationship or bonding between him and one child at a time. So you give them toys and they play together, and by this way he created more friends. He was creating more and more friends every day, and that encouraged him a lot in his transition. He become happier day by day. Is this manageable? Or just get any example you want to put. It doesn't need to be my examples. Yeah?
Okay.
Or maybe even making music, and how music has the sound of the instrument has helped the children feeling positive, because he was very stressed and he didn't want to get involved in the activities because he moved to his grandparents. His mother had an accident and she's no longer alive, so he moved to his grandparents. Then what I did was taking extra care of this child, try to make him a little bit happier. So I start teaching him how to play music, to give him some positive support, and start talking more with the grandparents to know what he's been doing in their house and how he's coping. And that gave me more information about how to handle him in the class. And so the music has restored the child positive feeling, and has made him even more friends, because they were all playing in one group, playing music, and make him more positive step by step. Any example, anything you can think of, how you support the child well-being, you can say it here. Now, if I go to the other question where it says implement an activity. So I just gave you 3 more examples. You just put any activity of these here for the implement is mean do this activity. So rather than just plan it, first of all, I planned. So here I talk about how did I plan it. So I talk about the child MA, and I say he was very stressed because he moved house. His mother been shouting at him. I didn't realize that only while let us say child MA was very quiet, wasn't happy, wasn't talking to anyone. So what I did, I planned an activity which is for his well-being. What I did was let us talk about any one of these activities. So I gave the children, I planned to give the children lots of stories, and each one of this child work independently to watch all the pictures and then tell us in the group what is this story all about. He can read his own story, so he can tell us about his emotional or her emotional feeling about this story. So especially one of the children, which is child MA, he's just been moved to another nursery, and he feels like he's got no friends, and he wasn't happy with that. So my plan was to encourage him to talk about his feeling. So now implement an activity. I start giving these books to the children, and I encourage them to read it. I waited until everyone had a look at their pictures, understood his story, and then I asked them start asking them to tell us the story one by one, and then encourage them to start by asking them questions to find out about their feelings, about how they felt, and this will obviously made them happier because they were laughing, they were talking about their feelings regarding certain situations, and expressing themselves. Now, evaluating your role. Now, how was the evaluation for this? And was the evaluation for your own role or own work? How to promote emotional well-being? So how can you evaluate your own job? So what's your job? I do, so for me, I need to talk about myself again. I say I do very good job about promoting the children well-being, because I always encourage them to tell me about how they feel. I encourage them to show me, to show independency, resilience. Yeah, exactly. It's just you need to go back and talk about whatever you have here. Whatever we spoken about. Just you need to talk about it.
After eating.
Yeah, you see here, they put as well for you an evaluation for your role, so you can't even use this one. So for me as a child practitioner, my role is very important. So what I do is I always respond sensitively to the children's questions and listen to them. Also, I notice the children's mood, write it, pass it to their parents. I acknowledge the children's feeling. If they feel they're unhappy or sad on one day, I keep asking them to find out more information. I try to allow the child to express themselves with their paints, with the painting, so they can express their feeling. Also, I respond positively to the child's needs. So if they have certain body language, I respond positively to that. My body language is always positive. I take care of them, and I'm always positive with them. I provide opportunity for the child independence. If the child need helping, I always help them. However, I make sure they feel independent as well. So if there is any feeding, I better ask them to feed themselves. Also, if there is any mistake happened by the children, I allow them to make mistake, maybe correct it. If there is any toys being thrown on the floor, I'll ask them to collect it independently. Also, I empower the children, so my role there is very important. So if they, I provide, I ask them to do certain activities by themselves, like washing their hands, toileting. I give them, I respect their dignity and allow them to do it themselves. And also I respect them, respect their opinion. I provide the opportunity for the children to enjoy being with others. So create lots of activities during the day. So they play together, they have fun. They settle in the, if there is any fighting between them or any dispute between them, I help them to resolve it immediately between them as well, and acknowledge if there is any praise I can give the child for doing things by themselves. I will be more than happy to do it. If they do cooperate or they do a positive behavior, I always praise them for that. And I'm always act as a role model for these children. So, is this clear?
Yes.
Yeah, good, excellent. So this is how to answer the last one of the reflective account. Do you want us to go through any of what we spoken about today, please? Do you need us to go through anything? Again, do you think you find some of the information not very clear, so we can go through it again?
For me, it's clear.
Everything clear? Thank you so much. So hopefully, I'm just going to stop recording, send you this